My name's Steve. I'm 43 years old. I've lived all over the bloody place. Grew up in West Heidelberg. And I'm in Fitzroy now. The third time. It's the third address I've had in Fitzroy. I've always loved Fitzroy.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to come back. There's just something about Fitzroy special. I'm living in a rooming house. I was in a rooming house 4 years ago in Fitzroy, in Gertrude Street. And then I was in a share house in Fitzroy Street, Fitzroy. And now I'm back at a rooming house in Brunswick Street.
Yeah.
And
so what do you like?
history.
History?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's historical. It's old world. It's
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
It's got that. Well, the French. The French talked about the Belle Epoque.
Yeah.
You know, and that's this Carlton, Fitzroy, and that were built in the 1880s,
Yeah.
1890s, basically. The Belle Epoque. It's the closest thing. It's the closest thing we've got in Australia to anything in Europe. Same up in like Sydney, the old suburbs, you know,
Yeah.
the old country towns too, I suppose.
Yeah.
This is Gold Rush City here too.
Yeah.
You know, it was built after the Gold Rush.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine was saying the other night, he was saying Fitzroy was Melbourne. I've heard this of other people. Fitzroy was Melbourne's first suburb,
Yeah.
and it was even on the go before the Gold Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
So where do you reckon it is now?
It's still got a lot of the old in it, you know, the old spirit,
Yeah.
the old spirit, you know. It's still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well,
What's the-
yeah, you know where we just went before.
Yeah.
You know, those couple of pubs.
Yeah.
You know. I think it's with the rooming house people and the you know. That's where that old thing is. You know. People who live in rooming houses and drinking those sorts of pubs, you know, rough pubs.
Yeah. You reckon that this is really tolerant? Really
Yeah.
open most things?
Yeah. Like this bloke was saying to me the other night, he said, look, we're all Aussie Battlers here, this is Aussie Battler town, you know. Another mate of mine said this is struggle town, you know.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So what part of Fitzroy can you like? What do you think is bad?
Bad parts, no, all of it's good. I was saying today to someone, you know, there is a lot in Fitzroy, different sort of people, different sort of scenes. It's all here. You've got your ultra trendy part down. You cross over Johnson Street to Brunswick Street, John Alexander Parade at Brunswick Street. That's the trendy, groovy part. You know, that's cool.
You think they're locals?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, moved in, and people who come from other suburbs, you know, to eat in restaurants and cafes and so forth and check out the scene. Yeah. But then you've got where I'm living, I'm up the grungy end, up the Gertrude Street end. That's a fuck heap.
Yeah.
Really.
What do you like about that?
Well,
That's true.
the other day I was with my mate in his room watching the telling. Blue Healers was on. You know, the female cop is looking at this mugshot. He goes, last known address, Gertrude Street, Fitzroy. And so I said, you know where she's talking about, don't you? Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
It's, you know, a bit seedy, you know.
Yeah. So what sort of people worry you the most?
Where I was talking to you that before, and I was saying to someone this morning about that. We're having a good talk. I said, there's one type of person here that I'm a bit fearful of, and that's bad crims.
Yeah.
Bad boys. You know, nasty cunts.
So young guys, old guys?
Younger guys.
You mean gangs?
Yeah. Not so much the gangs, but no. Just sort of lone wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loose cannon.
Yeah. What did you say?
Loose cannons.
Loose cannons. Yeah. Oh, they've got their mates, but like they. Oh, the other day I was talking to this mate of mine. He's a young bloke too. He told when I said to you, he said, I can't believe still you're 43 and so bloody gullible.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, listen, mate, we've had a life, I was brought up differently from you, because he told me a bit about himself. He grew up the rough way, tough way. And I didn't. I grew up sheltered family.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I was saying to him, oh, do you know this one and that one? No, I don't know them. Oh, do you know this coot or that coot? No, I don't know him. And I think it was genuine too, and he didn't know them, and he's been living in the area for a while,
Yeah.
So I don't think he was lying. No, he wasn't bullshitting. He generally didn't know these other guys.
Yeah.
And I think it's because probably these type of people keep themselves a bit,
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway,
So you're saying you got kicked out of the pub, yeah? You've been
I got kicked out of the Napier. No, I wasn't kicked out. I was just politely asked to leave. But Fleur was very sweet. Yeah.
So what you said you couldn't get into?
I've been kicked out of the Rainbow.
Yeah.
That was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I've been kicked out of the Punters Club.
Yeah.
Because I went crook at the bouncer.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't let me in because he reckoned I'd too much to drink.
Yeah.
So I verbally abused. I went down last night actually. It was on my conscience. So I went down and apologised to him.
Yeah.
Well, I asked a few people, do you think I should? No, I had a bad conscience. Well, like, I'm living in the area. He could meet me one night on the street, bloody bash me, too,
Yeah.
which he might still do.
Yeah.
But I went down and his co-worker was there, and I apologised to him in front of his mate,
So where were you before you lived in Fitzroy?
Paran. Paran for 2 years. I love Paran. It's like here, it's a similar sort of suburb, as far as I'm concerned. Old suburb, Victorian era suburb. And
how's it been?
well, for instance, like I was saying before about Brunswick Street, you can cross over Johnson Street, you're in the trendy part.
Yeah.
That's the same in Chapel Street. You cross over Malvern Road and you're South Yarra.
Yeah.
That's the real chic part,
Yeah.
Then you go up the other end of Chapel Street, the Windsor end,
Yeah.
and that's the grungy part. There you've got all the old pubs, the old-fashioned boozers, That's the same here in Fitzroy with Brunswick Street. I think basically it's Johnson Street. One side of Johnson Street, the other side of Johnson Street.
Yeah. So look, the pubs.
But the real hardcore stuff's around Gertrude Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said you was living in France for a while?
I was in France for about 10 years. I joined a monastery. Oh no, I went over to study to become a priest, and that didn't work out. So I thought I'll try this monastery, and I was there for 10 years, and I had to leave, and it was just too hard. They were traditionalists.
Yeah.
They're following the old ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like the Catholic Church had a big reform in the 1960s with the Second Vatican Council. They changed a lot of things, made it easier for monks and nuns, and priests, but I was with the traditionalists. We were from the old ways.
Yeah.
Well, we were rebels.
What was the Yeah.
Well, basically it was the Society of St. Pius X and a Archbishop, and then some other groups who were affiliated with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when did you come back?
1997.
97.
1997, so I was there from 86 to 97.
And you come back to Fitzroy.
I did actually, yeah, that same year I was living at Doodar's in Gertrude Street, yeah, for about 6 months, 6 or 7 months, yeah. Used to drink at the Rob Roy,
Yeah.
when it was the old Rob Roy, you know, Peter and Anna had it. It's gone very trendy now, and a bit gay too, I've been told. What, you know, it's not just trendy, it's gay as well.
Yeah.
So it's just not the same crowd. No.
They let you? Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't drunk there yet.
Yeah.
I went in one night and I said, just asked the barman about the bar prices, just making inquiries. I wanted to know how much they charge for a beer. $2.80. So, and I thought, oh, I might as well go to the pubs.
Yeah.
Bit cheap. Actually, I didn't realise the Napier's cheaper than Old Cologne.
Yeah.
Because it was $1.80 for a glass of beer, Napier. And I said, oh, I wanted to... oh yeah, when Thingo asked me to leave, Fleur,
Yeah.
I thought, I'll go down to bloody Old Colonial. And they served me, but I had $1.80 in my pocket. I thought, oh, that'll do, I'll get a glass.
Yeah.
And I go and it was $2, and thank God Betty was there.
Yeah.
I was, oh, Betty, can you give me 20 cents? So she gave me 20 cents so I could get a glass.
So you're going to stay in Fitzroy? What long?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
And what do you see as the biggest threat? What?
Oh, violence from nasty characters.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about sort of, you know, the pubs being taken over and trend shit like that? Would that make you leave, go somewhere else?
Oh, maybe not, because no, yeah. Actually, I would like to sort of, even if that did happen, I'd like to stay there and sort of, you know, be like the last of the Mohicans. You know? Yeah, you know, old school. Mm.
Yeah. So before you went to France, you lived in Fitzroy then?
No, I lived in Collingwood.
Yeah.
I was there for nearly 2 years in Collingwood, so that's I did get to know Fitzroy that way too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
being so close. And I grew up in West Heidelberg, lived in Queensland for a while,
Yeah.
lived in Collingwood, lived in North Carlton, Carrum. Yeah, then I was in Ashwood, just, you know, like I said before, I was in Paran. Then I went to Ashwood for about 10 months, out near Jordanville Station. Yeah, that was very suburban.
Yeah. And you wouldn't live in the suburb?
Well, I grew up in a similar suburb, West Heidelberg, you know, commission sort of suburb, and no, I've always had this romantic thing about the old suburbs.
Yeah.
Of course, coming from West Heidelberg, we'd get the train at Ivanhoe Station,
Yeah.
and you know how it's high, the train line's high.
Yeah.
You can look over all these. So I'd look over Collingwood and Abbotsford, look up to Fitzroy and Carlton and the city. And every time I'd come into town, you know, even as a little kid, it was just so different from where I was, you know, all these piggly little houses and their beautiful terrace, you know, they're wrought iron, and that just looked gorgeous, you know. And there just seemed to be so much life, you know, people in the streets, all the pubs were packed with people, and, you know, a lot of drunks, happy, singing, shouting, you know, it just seemed to be full of life and character. And so I've always had this sort of thing about it. You know, I'd love to live in an area like that. Sydney's got a lot of nice old suburbs too, so, but Melbourne has too. Yeah. Well, they all have. Adelaide, country towns, Bendigo, like that. Yeah.
And And do you think that people look after you?
Yeah, well,
Communities?
yes. Yeah. Yeah, I do. Everybody's poor,
Yeah.
you know. We're all in the same boat together.
Yeah. So there's like Sisters of Charity and stuff like that.
Yeah, you've got all these charities about the place. And we get, where I live, we get the St. Vincent de Paul people come nearly every night and give you sandwiches or rolls, soup or cordial.
Yeah. They come into your boarding house?
Yeah. You go up to the Indian sisters, get a free feed.
Yeah.
Or the Daughters of Charity, I think it's $2.50, get a 3-course meal, soup, a plate and sweets. Yeah. They've got other places like that around Melbourne, like Grand Mission, Sacred Heart Mission, St Kilda.
Yeah. That's pretty different, the other end of the street.
Yeah. I heard something the other night. I thought, gee, that's the first time I've heard that, and I knew straight away what they're talking. These two guys where I lived, we were in the room and we were having a drink, and one of them says to the other, I remember you from the Jack and Jill. He said, yeah, we were at the Jack and Jill together. And I knew straight away what they're talking about. It's the Gill. The Gill. But it was a Salvation Army place in the city.
Yeah.
For, for like a cheap boarding house type of place,
Yeah.
And it was quite famous in its day, but the Jack and Jill, the Gill, yeah.
So where do you see yourself in 10 years? You look back.
God, I'll be 53, and it'll be the year 2011. I don't know. Here, I'd love to stay here. Yeah. This suburb here, Carlton too, this is a beautiful suburb. Really lovely. I just like walking around the streets and looking at the beautiful houses and that, It's just, yeah. I love Victorian architecture, just marvellous. I reckon Melbourne's one of the best preserved Victorian cities in the world, like Victorian era style architecture. Up in Sydney they pulled down a lot of Victorian stuff. In the 1920s, and they built what they call Art Deco. So Sydney's more an Art Deco city. Melbourne's more Victorian. Yeah. La Belle Epoque.
Do you reckon Fitzroy was like better 20 years ago or years ago?
It was rougher.
It's rough.
Yeah, a lot rougher.
Yeah. In terms of pubs.
Yeah, well, back then, hang on, let me think. Back then? Yeah, back then I was, a friend of mine's Aboriginal.
Yeah.
And he used to took me to the Builder's Arms, and I was there drinking with the Couriers, and took me up to Champion. And the Royal used to be across the road from the Builder's Arms, so it burnt to the ground. Yeah. And the Grace Darling in Collingwood, that was a Koori pub too. I've been in there with the black people. Gee, what fun! And went up to one day we went. He used to live he was renting a house to this mate of mine. You cross over. Hang on, let me think. From this end of Fitzroy, you cross over Johnson Street, and it was up near Alexandria Parade. He had a share house there, and there were all his mates were there, and it was just, I remember going to parties there, and what fun,
Yeah.
And I found the Aboriginal people very accepting,
Yeah. And you're saying that
but they're all gone now,
They're all gone?
Yeah, well, most of them, I think, yeah. Fitzroy just got too expensive.
And where are they gone?
Oh, what I heard is a lot of them moved up to Northcote and Preston.
Yeah. So Fitzroy, it's just the rent?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. You still see a few Couriers around.
Yeah.
It used to be like Redfern here, you know.
Yeah.
Redfern's still strong.
Yeah.
But Fitzroy was the equivalent in Melbourne, but it's not like that anymore. Yeah. Mm.
And said your family? You've got some family? So
Yeah, like that's another thing about living here. Like, well, first of all, my grandma, Dad's mum, was born in 1880 in Stawell, but when she was very young, the family moved to Collingwood, and they lived in Smith Street, near the corner of Johnson Street. The building's still there.
yeah.
They had a boot shop, and they were Hyde's Church of England.
Yeah.
I reckon they would have gone to St Mark's.
Yeah.
And then across the road from that, from in Johnson Street, Smith Street, you've got on the Fitzroy side, you've got the Birmingham Hotel, which was built in 1853. Now, my great grandfather and my grandmother's brothers
Yeah.
would have drunk there. I reckon, you know, that's where they would have drunk.
Yeah.
Gone for a beer. Then on Mum's side, they had some relatives in North Fitzroy, up near the Merry Creek, and my auntie and my uncle, that's Mum's brother and sister, came over here from Tassie in the 1930s and stayed with them. And Uncle David, he went completely blind at the age of 28.
Yeah.
But some of the last things he can remember seeing was, this is 1930s, right? Kicking the football with the Fitzroy Football Club up in Edinburgh Gardens at their ground.
Yeah.
When they're having practice during the week, he'd go and kick the footy with them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the last things he remembers seeing with his eyes, because when he turned 28, he went completely blind. He'd been going gradually blind, you know. So he barracked for Fitzroy, and he died in 1997. He was 80 years old, or 81, and it was at Springvale Crematorium. When they put the coffin into the furnace, they played the Fitzroy theme song, "We Are the Boys from Old Fitzroy," and everyone's just going boo. You know. So, you know, I've got all this sort of...
Are you a Fitzroy?
Yeah. I barracked for Fitzroy
Yeah.
when I was a kid. Growing up in West Heidelberg, in our street, Edwin Street, near the Repat Hospital, up the road was Alex Rushcuttlick and his father. He was full forward for Fitzroy.
Yeah.
And next door to them were the McKennas, Peter McKenna and his mum.
Yeah.
Now, I knew the McKennas and I knew the Rushcuttlicks.
They're footballers?
Yeah, Peter McKenna for Collingwood football, full forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to go to the football with Mr. Rushcuttlick, Alex's father. And usually we went to Waverley. And then I used to go also with a little mate of mine at school. He and his father barracked for Fitzroy, and they used to take me to the Junction Oval. But I reckon when I was a kid, I actually went to the old Fitzroy place.
Yeah.
There's something I remember, must have been one of my uncles.
What's the old Fitzroy?
That was in the Edinburgh Gardens in North Fitzroy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was they still got the old, this part of the building there is left.
Yeah.
It's red brick.
Stop being a brick.
Oh, 30 years ago, something?
Really?
Yeah, between 20 and 30 years ago, yeah. Then Fitzroy, what happened was Fitzroy moved to the Junction Oval in St Kilda, Fitzroy Street,
Yeah.
and St Kilda moved to Moorabbin.
Yeah.
And as a friend of mine said, that's when all the rot started.
The rot?
All the rot.
What do you think?
Well, you look what's happened to Victorian Football League. You know, like it's Victorian Football League, not, you know, it's gone. There's Fitzroy's gone, South Melbourne's gone. You know, South Melbourne moved to Sydney. Fitzroy's disappeared.
Lost all its local.
Yeah. All that tradition. You know, look, there was an old mate of mine when I was living at Doodar's, Gertrude Street, Ted.
Yeah.
He died a few years ago, I found out too, poor old Ted.
Yeah.
But he was born, bred and died in Fitzroy. He was 50 years old. Had a lot of things wrong with him, asthma and whatever. He died. But he was very, very bitter about Fitzroy moving. Oh, no, he said Fitzroy didn't move.
Yeah.
Fitzroy Football Club ceased to exist and this, the Brisbane Lions is a new club. He said they should not wear the Guernsey, and they shouldn't pretend that they're a continuation of Fitzroy. Oh, G was adamant of that.
They don't know the history, they don't know...
Yeah, well, you know, like a few other people around the area, I talked to them about it, and they said, no, look, you know, change. You know, go along with the change. Yeah. I'll sing you the boys from off this if you like.
Yeah, do it now.
I'll sing it in French and then in English.
Alright.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé. Entre nous de la Tyriane, l'étendard sanglant élevé, l'étendard sanglant élevé. Attendez-vous dans les campagnes, mugir ces féroces soldats. Ils viennent jusque dans nos bras, égorger nos fils, nos compagnes. Aux âmes citoyens, formez vos bataillons. Marchons, marchons, que le sang impur abreuve nos sillons. We are the boys from old Fitzroy, we wear the colours maroon and blue. We will always fight for victory, and we'll always see it through. Come what may, do or die, da-da-da-da-da-da. Fitzroy, Fitzroy, the team we love so dear, premiers will be this year. Now the da-dee-da one, the verse I missed out on, I wrote it down on paper and took it to the old Colonial like a week ago or something, and I asked Ollie, the publican, and all the other, you know, the other old blokes, you know, I thought, you know, they're supposed to be Fitzroyites.
Yeah.
And they didn't know the verse.
Really?
I said, there's this verse, I forget the words to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what the words are? And they didn't know.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't know. I couldn't believe it. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And I went to I said, look, I know where I can find out. The Napier Hotel, they'll know. Because, you know, the Napier's got all that Fitzroy memorabilia and that, you know. And Fleur didn't know, and the other girl didn't know, and I asked a few other people, they didn't know, and they said, come and see the, you know, the publican, what's his name?
Artie.
Yeah, he'd know.
Yeah.
But these guys at the old Colonial said, go for the library.
Yeah.
You'll find out there. And someone else said, ring up 3AW.
Yeah.
You'll find out.
Right?
Yeah.